Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to play Texas Hold'em, another Feldman instructional video. So the first thing to learn when you're going to start to play Texas Hold'em is the types of hands that there are. So the first one is a high card, and that's just the bigger number. The ninth best hand in poker is a pair. So as you can see there, 2 aces equals 1 pair. Number 8 is 2 pairs. So there are 2 aces, 2 kings, that's 2 pairs. 3 of a kind, and just remember, 3 of a kind now beats 2 pairs, 1 pair, and high card. So 3 of a kind is when you have 3 of the same cards. A straight is when the numbers are in a row, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Flush is all the same suit. The numbers don't matter. A full house is a 3 of a kind matched with a pair, so 3 queens and 2 jacks. A 4 of a kind is 4 of all of the same cards. A straight flush is where you have all of the same suits and all of the same numbers. And a royal flush is the best hand in Texas Hold'em. You have all the same suit, all in the same order, but it starts out with an ace and goes down to a 10, which is the highest card you can play. Okay, so next is how Texas Hold'em is actually played. So this is your opponent's hand. This is your hand. And so you start out with 2 cards and these 2 cards, and you try and make these out of your 2 cards and the 5 cards. So in this example, you can see that you have a pair of kings. 1 here and 1 here. And your opponent has a pair of 4s. 1 here and 1 here. In this scenario, you would have won because a king is higher than a 4. Next, we're going to go on how the order works, so how everything works. So first, everyone bets. They have the opportunity to bet. And then the first 3 cards are placed on the table. This is called the flop. So then everyone bets again, and then the 4th card is turned, and that's called the turn. Is turned over, and that's called the turn. And then everyone bets one more time, and then the last card is revealed, the river, and then everyone bets one more time. So a couple things on betting, a couple vocabulary, the big and the small blind. So there are 2 people on the table that always have to bet every hand, and it rotates by every turn. So the big blind has to bet the minimum. So say that the minimum bet is $2 on a table. So this person has to do $2, put $2 on the table. And the small blind has to put $1 on the table. This ensures that the game is constantly moving forward and that people are always playing. So the pot is the amount of money in the game. When you bet, it's all put into one part of the table, and that's called the pot. A check is when you don't do anything. You don't put any money in, and there's nobody that has put a bet on the table. A bet is when you add money to the pot. A raise is when if someone bets and then you want to add more money to it, that's called a raise. A fold is when you end your hand. You leave all the money on the table and you wait until next round. You don't have to put any more money in for that round, but you have to leave what's there on the table. To call is put the same amount of money that someone bet into the pot. And a bluff is when you have a good hand, when you don't have a good hand, but bet is if you have a really good hand. And all in is when you bet everything you have with you. So I'm just going to go through a hand, like an example hand, so you can better understand the game. So you're dealt an ace of club and a 10 of club, which are the same suit, which we call suited. And so this is a good hand because not only do you have a high 10, but you also have an ace, which is the best card in the game. So you bet the minimum of $2, and you're playing with just one other person, and they call your $2 bet. The pot is now at $4, and the game is about to begin. So the flop comes, and you get a pair of 10s. So this is pretty good. So unless your opponent has a 9 or otherwise, you'll probably win. So you bet $4. So your opponent calls your $4, but then raises you another 10. He may have a 9, but remember he could be bluffing, so you call just to make sure. And the pot's at $32 after this round. So the turn comes, and let me just pause the video if you need to. Was this card good for you. All right, sort of. So as you can see, you got another club, so you might get a flush, but nothing really happens, so you check, and your opponent checks, which gives away that he probably doesn't have a 9 since he checked. And then the river comes, and you got a flush, and that's a super good hand, so very low percentage that you'll lose. So you go all in, your opponent calls, and you reveal, and he gets super upset because he only has a 10 and you got a flush. And you would have won the entire time because 10, you had a pair of 10s, and ace is higher than a 3 because he only had a 3. So you would have won no matter what, even if you didn't get the flush. So your opponent walks away broke, and you're going to go away with $100. And this is why I love Texas Hold'em. So just in case you're not convinced, last year the person that won the World Series poker tournament won $7.5 million. A lot of people. This isn't just a game. A lot of people make a very substantial living doing this. And with some practice, maybe in a few years you'll walk away with it. Now, if you like this video and you start to like poker and you want to move forward, you should start working with percentages. This is what the pros do to know the odds that they'll win a hand. It's very important, and it helps you know when to hold, fold, and bet, and do everything in between. Really helps you with the game. So I hope you enjoy your newfound love of poker.